All right, everyone. So I hope all of you are able to connect that we are right now discussing the various modes by which reconstitution may take place. So reconstitution, the first mode of reconstitution is change in the existing PSR. Whenever the change in profit sharing ratio, whenever the profit sharing ratio changes, it leads to the reconstitution of the partnership. And whenever partnership changes, the reconstitution takes place on account of the change in PSR, we need to do the following adjustment. We need to do the adjustment regarding the calculation of the gaining and sacrificing ratio of the partner, right? That we have already covered, gaining and determination of the gaining and sacrificing shares of the partner. Then after that, we need to adjust. We need to do the adjustment regarding the accumulated profits, and different types of reserves, right? Yeah, different types of reserves. Reserve that we talked about is like reserves that we have discussed is the compensation, workman compensation reserve. Then we also discussed the treatment of the investment fluctuation reserve, then the general treatment of the general reserve. So all these reserves are to be treated differently depending upon the different situation. Then whenever the reconstitution is taking place on account of change in PSR, we need to also do the adjustment regarding the goodwill. So now in today's session, we will be talking about the treatment of the goodwill. How are we going to treat the goodwill whenever reconstitution is taking place? So this is what we will be considering in today's session. And if time allows, we will also talk about the revaluation account, treatment of the revaluation account. So we will also be covering that. Anyway, so let's first of all talk about how do we treat the value of the goodwill in the situation of the reconstitution. So see, treatment of goodwill on account of reconstitution depends upon two situations. Treatment of goodwill in a situation of reconstitution depends upon two situations. How we will be treating the value of the goodwill, it depends upon two situations. Number one, in order to decide the treatment, we have to first of all determine whether the goodwill is the purchased goodwill or the self valued goodwill. So basically goodwill can be further divided into two parts. Listen to me carefully. Goodwill can be broadly classified as the number one, purchased goodwill, purchased goodwill, purchased goodwill, and there can be self-valued goodwill, self-valued goodwill. There are two types of goodwill: self-valued goodwill, or we also call it self-valued goodwill or self-generated goodwill. Both means the same thing, self-valued or self-generated goodwill. So broadly categorizing the goodwill, we have two types of goodwill: purchased goodwill and the self-valued goodwill. Goodwill that we have bought from some other entity will be considered as the purchased goodwill, and if it is self-generated, it will be considered as the self-valued goodwill. So the treatment of the goodwill depends upon the type of goodwill. If it is the purchased goodwill, then in such a situation, treatment of the goodwill will be different. And if it is the self-generated goodwill, in such a case, treatment will be different. So let's first of all talk about how are we going to deal with the purchased goodwill. See, purchased goodwill, the treatment of purchased goodwill is that we need to write off the goodwill from the books of account. If it is the purchased goodwill, if it is the purchased goodwill, then we need to write it off. We need to write off the purchased goodwill, write off purchased goodwill from the books of account, from books of account. Got it, everyone? If it is the purchased goodwill, we need to write it off from the books of account. So what do you mean by writing it off from the books of account? Writing off from the books of account basically means we need to we will be removing the value of the goodwill out of the books of account. That means it will be striked off from the books of account. That means partners will have to bear the loss of that goodwill. If we are writing off the goodwill from the books of account, that means partner have to bear the loss of reduction in the value of the goodwill. So that is what the writing of the goodwill basically means. Let me repeat what I've told you, that treatment of the goodwill depends upon whether it is the purchased goodwill or it is the self-generated, self-valued goodwill. If it is the purchased goodwill, then in such a situation, we need to write off the value of the goodwill from the books of account. And for that purpose, we will be passing this general entry. For writing off the value of the goodwill from the books of account, we need to pass the general entry. And the general entry will be partners capital account will be debited. Old partners capital account will be debited. In fact, partners capital account debit to the value of the goodwill account, to goodwill account. This is the general entry for writing of the value of the goodwill from the books of account. And we will also be writing the narration for this entry. Narration will be being goodwill written off. See, if goodwill is being written off, that means, see, I have told you, or you all of you must be aware that goodwill is what? Goodwill is an asset, right? Goodwill is what? Goodwill is an asset, right, everyone? If goodwill is an asset, and if we have decided to not to show this asset in the books of account, that means there is going to be reduction in the value of the asset in the future books of account. There is going to be reduction. Writing off basically means, writing off asset means there is going to be reduction in the value of the asset in future. So if the assets are declining, the value of the assets are written off, then the loss of such reduction will have to be borne by the existing partner, that means the old partner. So therefore, we have debited the old partner's capital account. Debiting the old partner's capital account simply means we are covering the reduction in the value of the goodwill from the partner's capital account. We are compensating the reduction in the value of the goodwill by the partner's capital account. So this is the general entry that we will be doing for the goodwill that we have purchased. Okay, now let's talk about, so how about what about the self-valued or self-generated goodwill? So if it is the self-generated goodwill, then in such a situation, treatment will be different. In such a situation, we will be distributing the value of the goodwill, or you can say we will, in such a case, we have to adjust the value of the goodwill. In this situation, we need to write it off. And in the second situation, we have to adjust the value of the goodwill. Adjust the value of goodwill. Adjust the value of the goodwill among the old and the new partner. So if you want to adjust the value of the goodwill, then you will have to pass the adjustment entry. So general entry in that case will be general entry for the adjustment. I'm sure that all of you already know every time whenever we need to pass the adjustment entry, we pass the general entry like this: gaining account of the partners. Gaining partners capital account will be debited. Gaining partners capital account debit to sacrificing partners capital account. Sacrificing partners capital account. All right, everyone. So this is the general entry of the adjustment being goodwill adjusted. Goodwill adjusted in gaining and sacrificing ratio. Gaining and sacrificing ratio. I hope this is clear to all of you. I want all of you to write it down on in your notebooks. Just, I think there's some problem with my earphone. Let me adjust that. Meanwhile, you write all these things on your notebook. Alexander, please confirm if I'm audible or not.
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Yeah, okay, thank you. All right, everyone. So tell me if it is clear or not. Treatment of goodwill. What I've told you, that treatment of goodwill depends upon the type of goodwill. If the goodwill is that goodwill that we have purchased from some other firm, that means in such a situation we have to write off such goodwill from the books of account. Whenever the reconstitution is taking place, we need to write it off, and for writing it off from the books of account, we need to pass the journal entry, and write the journal entry for writing it off from the books of account will be old partners capital account debit to goodwill account. Okay, since goodwill is an asset and it is declining, it is reducing, we are writing it off from the books of account. That means there is a reduction in the value of the asset, therefore we are crediting the goodwill account, and such loss has to be borne by the old partners, therefore we have debited the old partners capital account. On the other hand, if the goodwill is self-valued or the self-generated, then in such a case treatment will be different. Treatment will be I mean, in such a case we need to adjust the value of the goodwill depending upon the gaining and sacrificing shares of the partner, and for that purpose we need to pass the different general entry that will be gaining partners capital account to sacrificing partners capital account. Tell me, everyone, is this clear? Shall we move to the question? Alexander
Sir,
and
if
everyone else.
the bill is purchased, it will be written off from the survey.
Yes, if it will be specifically mentioned in the question, question will give you a fair idea whether it is purchased or self-value. So only thing that you have to determine is that how do we need to how we need to treat it. So just keep that in mind. If it is written in the question that the goodwill has been purchased, so it is clear that we need to write it off from the books of account, and for that purpose we will be doing the separate different journal entry. And if question is mentioning that it has valued the goodwill, then in such a case treatment will be different. Got it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I presume that everyone have written this down. I'm moving to the
For
question.
self-generated and purchased, the journal entry will be different.
Yes, for both these situation, treatment will be different. I hope this is clear to all of you.
Yes, sir, clear.
Clear, okay. So moving on to the question. question number 82 we'll be doing. This question is saying that there are three partners, X, Y, and Z. Their profit and losses ratio is 5:3:2. They have decided to share the profit and losses equally. In future, they have agreed to share the profits equally. Okay. So there is reconstitution taking place. By this information, question is trying to tell us that reconstitution is taking place in the form. Instead of 5:3:2, they will be sharing the profit and losses equally now. And question is saying that on that date, goodwill appears in the book at rupees 12,000. So always remember that whenever anything is purchased, if anything is purchased, then that can be recorded in the books of account. If you have purchased anything, then only you will be in a position to record that in the books of account. Got it, everyone? So by writing this statement that on that date goodwill appears in the books of account, books at rupees 12,000, that simply means, since the value of the goodwill is 12,000 in the books of account, this simply means that we must have purchased this much of goodwill. Got it, everyone? This goodwill must have been purchased by the firm. Since it is being reflected in the books of account, it simply means that we must have paid some price for this. Got it, everyone? Is this clear or not?
Yes, sir. Clear.
See, let me repeat it one more time. See, what I'm saying, that only those things can be reflected in the books of account, can be shown in the books of account, for which firm must have made any payment. Firm must have given some consideration. Firm must have made some payment. If for something, if anything that a firm owns, but for that firm did not made the payment, those kind of asset are not shown in the books of account. So in this question, if question is telling us that value of the goodwill in the books of account is at rupees 12,000, that means if it is being shown in the books of account, that simply means that firm must have purchased this goodwill. All right. Now question is also giving us more information. Next thing written here is that, but it was revalued at 30,000. Okay. So now see, this is the revalued good value of the goodwill, and this is the book value of the goodwill. The book value of the goodwill indicate that we have purchased this goodwill. Got it, everyone? And revalued goodwill simply means firm have valued this much of goodwill. Got it? So we have we have two values of goodwill here. One is the book value of the goodwill, which is the purchase value of the goodwill, and 30,000 is the revalued value of the goodwill. That means this is the self-generated, self-valued goodwill. Got it, everyone? Is this clear to all of you or not?
Yes, sir. Clear.
Yes, sir.
Everyone else, is this clear? Please confirm now. Kushi, Ayan.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, it's clear.
Okay. So if question is telling us that book value of the goodwill is 12,000, that means it is the purchase goodwill, and the 30,000 of the goodwill is revalued. That means it is the self-generated goodwill. And since we have two values of the goodwill here, both are different. One is the purchase and one is the self-valued. That means we need to do two different treatments for different type of goodwill. So let me solve this for you. So anyone want to try this question? If you want to try this question, please try this. Try to solve it within 5 minutes. Then I'll help you. I'll show you how to do this. Is it okay, Alexander?
Yes, sir.
Koshi?
Okay, sir.
Okay, just give it a try. Just give it a try, and then I'll show you how to do this. Done, everyone?
Sir, only done with the self-valued part.
Self-value part. Okay. What about the purchase goodwill?
Sir, I'm not sure about.
Okay. And other than Alexander, everyone else, please confirm. Guys, what happened?
Can you explain this question?
Okay, you want me to explain this. All right. Anyone else have also completed this other than Alexander? Kushi,
Sir, I'm trying.
you're trying. Okay. All right. Anyways, let me show you how to do this. First of all, see, in this question, see, since we have two types of goodwill. One is the book value of the goodwill is given. That means one is the purchase goodwill, and then there is the revalued goodwill, that is self-generated goodwill. So first of all, the treatment for the purchase goodwill, as I've told you that purchase goodwill need to be written off, right? Purchase goodwill needed to be written off. So the general entry that we will be doing for the writing of the goodwill is old partners capital account will be debited now. Old partners capital account is X capital account, Y's capital account, Z's capital account, all the accounts will be debited to the value of the goodwill. Now tell me how much is the value purchase goodwill? Purchase goodwill is 12,000, and this goodwill needed to be distributed among the partner in the old PSR. That means A will be getting 12,000 into old ratio was 5:3:2. That means 5 by 10. Y will be bearing 3 by 10, and Z will be bearing 12,000 into 2 by 10. Got it, everyone? So after calculating 12,000 into 5 by 10, you will get 6,000, and this will be 36. 100, and then it will be 2400. Got it, everyone? Tell me if it is clear or not.
Yes, sir. Clear.
Clear. So this is what I have done here. The treatment of the goodwill, purchase goodwill, is that old partner's capital account has been debited to the value of the goodwill. Moving on to the next part of the question. The second part requires us to treat the revalued goodwill. So to treat the revalued goodwill, the general entry is the gaining partner's capital account has to be debited and sacrificing partner's capital account need to be credited. But in order to determine who is gaining and who is sacrificing on account of change in PSR, we will have to prepare an extra working note here. So by preparing this working note, we will be able to figure out the gaining and sacrificing shares of the partner. Yes or no? Yes or no?
Yes,
Everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So this is the formula for finding out the gaining and sacrificing shares of the partner. New ratio minus the old ratio. So 1 minus 3 minus 5 by 10. Then see, this is the new ratio. Now all the partners have now decided to share the profits equally. Earlier they were sharing the profits in the ratio of 5:3:2. So 1 by 3 minus 5 by 10, then 1 by 3 minus 3 by 10, and then 1 by 3 minus 2 by 10. So by solving this, you will get X share will be minus 5 by 10. That means X will be sacrificing, Y will be gaining, and Z will also gain 4 by 10. All right. So now we got the name of the partners who are sacrificing and gaining, and the shares, uh, the shares in which they will be gaining and sacrificing. So taking into consideration that thing, we can now pass the general entry. Since Y and Z is gaining, so we need to debit Y and Z's capital account, and X is going to sacrifice, so we will be crediting the X capital account. Now see, the value of the goodwill was 30,000. Self-valued goodwill was 30,000. So when you will divide the 30,000 as per their gaining and sacrificing share. So first of all, Y share was how much? Y share was 1 by 10. So by calculating 30,000 into 1 by 10, you will get 3,000, right? So therefore I have written it here 3,000. Then if you will calculate the share of the Z, so the ratio of the sacrificing share of the Z was 4 by 10, then you will get 12,000, and then 3,000 plus 12,000 will be 15,000. Entire amount will be credited to sacrificing partner. Tell me everyone, is this clear to all of you? Then we can also write down the narration, being revalued goodwill adjusted among the partners in the old PSR. Tell me if it is clear or not. And also tell me if anybody wants to write it down so that I can wait. Otherwise, we'll move to the next slide. So I'm giving you some time to note it down. Please let me know whenever you want me to scroll down, and also confirm whenever you're done writing it. I've been Alexander, Kushi, Ayan. Is this clear to all of you? Question number 82.
yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Guys, one more thing. We have to conduct a Viva in the next class. So on Wednesday, we will be conducting a Viva and the chapter will be same. We will be conducting the Viva from this chapter, the fundamental of partnership, and topics for that. I'll tell you at the end of the session what topic I'll be taking the Viva from.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, Alexander.
Sir, why only 15,000 is being credited to X capital?
Why only 15,000? What do you think? How much should be credited to the X capital account?
Sir, I thought the value of the goodwill 30,000.
No. See, value of the goodwill we are not writing it off from the books of account. Na? We all the thing that we are doing is here that we are adjusting it between the old partners and the new partner. So because sorry, not the new partner. Because of the change in the PSR, some partner is gaining and someone is sacrificing because of the change that have taken place in the partnership. Some of the partners are gaining due to such change and some are sacrificing. So what we have done is the whatever the total amount of goodwill that we have valued, we have credited a part of that goodwill to the sacrificing partner who have occurred loss on account of such reconstitution, and partners who have gained, we have debited their account. Since we are not writing off the entire value of the goodwill from the books of account, therefore we are not required to credit partners capital account by 30,000. If uh, if goodwill needed to if goodwill requires to be written off, then in that situation only partners capital account will be credited by 30,000.
Okay, sir. Understood.
Okay. Since we need to pass the adjustment entry only, therefore we are distributing 15,000. And the value of the 15,000 is have arrived on after calculation uh, of the goodwill as per their gaining and sacrificing shares. We haven't just randomly written 15,000. When you will apply the formula, their sacrificing share is, see, X sacrificing share is 1 by 10 now. Sorry, let me check. X share was sacrificing share was 5 by 10. So when you will do 30,000 into 5 by 10, 5 by 10, you will get 15,000 only. Therefore, we have written 15,000 in the partners in the X capital. Got it, everyone? Anybody still writing? Done, everyone? Shall we
No,
move to the
sir.
next question?
Still writing. Working note is left to right. Sir, can
Please
you show
write
the
it down
picture
quickly.
of the revalued of
Yeah, please note this. Done.
Sir, the LCM of 3 and 10 is 30 now.
Yeah. Oh, in that case, I think we have made a mistake here. Made a mistake. I think so this will be 30. So nominator is, I guess it is correct, na?
Yes,
Minus
sir,
5
it's
by 30,
correct.
it will still remain same. Minus 5 by 30. But I guess the value will change. And why no one else have noticed this? Why Alexander noticed this all the time? It will be 4 by 30. So in that case, I guess the calculation will be different as well, 5 by 30. So this means 30,000 into 5 by 30. It will be 1,000 into 5. 5,000 only. Please make this correction. Is it correct now? And y, we need to correct the y's value as well. For y, it will be 30,000 into 1 by 30. So that means it will be 1,000 only, and remaining will be debited to X capital account. 4,000. Got it, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Alexander, now it is correct, na?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So shall we move to the next question? You guys are taking a long to write it down. Okay, I'm moving to the next question, guys. Question number 82. See, this question is stating that XYZ are partners sharing profit and losses in the ratio of 5:3:2. They decided to share the profits and losses equally with effect from 1st of April 2020. So till this point, everything is same as the previous question. In the previous question as well, the parties were sharing the profit and loss in the ratio of 5:3:2 earlier, and their new profit share was 1:1 equal. Other than this, question is also telling us that the partnership provide that in the event of any change in the profit sharing ratio, that means in the event of reconstitution, goodwill is to be valued at 2 years purchase of the average profit of the preceding 5 years. The profit and loss of preceding 5 years are as follows. You are required to calculate the goodwill and pass the general entry. Okay, so this time the value of the goodwill is not given in the question. And question is only telling us that whenever reconstitution take place, that means whenever profit sharing ratio changes, we need to value the goodwill depending upon the 2 years purchase of the 5 years average profit. So first of all, tell me in this question, whatever the value of the goodwill that we will calculate, such value of goodwill will be considered as the valued goodwill or the purchased goodwill. What are we going to call that goodwill? It will be valued goodwill, self-generated goodwill, or the purchased goodwill?
Sir, valued goodwill.
Correct. It will be called valued goodwill. Since the value of the goodwill is not given in the question is telling us to value the goodwill. Question is only giving us the.
We will give the journal entry of purchase goodwill.
In this question, we will be doing the journal entry for the purchase goodwill.
No, sir. If the goodwill is given, we will.
Yeah.
Right.
If it is given and question is stating that
the goodwill
is
given.
recorded in the books of account. If it is given and
Yeah.
it is recorded in the books of account, then we will consider it as the purchase goodwill, and then we will do the treatment as we do in case of the purchase goodwill. Otherwise, we will consider it the self-generated goodwill. So in this case, since the value of the goodwill is not given, in fact, we need to calculate the value of the goodwill. And I guess I've already taught you how to find the value of the goodwill, how to value the goodwill. So in this question, which method of the valuation of goodwill will be applicable? Which method of the goodwill will be applicable? Which method of the valuation of goodwill will be applicable in this case? Tell me. We have I guess 4 methods we have covered, na? Average profit method, then super profit method, the weighted average profit method, and then the capitalization method. All of you remember that?
Yes, sir. Sir, I think
So,
average profit.
yes, correct. Since question is clearly stating that the goodwill is needed to be valued on the basis of the average profit of the preceding 5 years, that means we need to apply the average profit method. Okay, so all of you remember the average profit method?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so shall I wait to solve that you will be able to solve it? Shall I presume that you will be able to solve it? Shall I wait for 5 minutes?
Okay, sir.
Okay, I'm giving you 5 minutes to solve it quickly. Let me know the answer. Just first of all, tell me the value of the goodwill and then pass the general entry. And meanwhile, let me also solve this question. This is question number 83, everyone, not question number 82. Let me help all of you a little. See, let me give you a quick recall that how do we find out goodwill by the average profit method. So for finding out the goodwill by average profit method, we generally apply this formula. Average profit, value of the goodwill, value of the goodwill equals to the average profit of the firm, average profit, multiplying it with the number of years purchased, number of years purchased. Remember, everyone? Everyone is able to recall this now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, sir.
And since the average profit
Sir.
is not directly given, only the value of the goodwill for the last preceding 5 years has been given in the question. So for that purpose, we will have to find out the average profit. Yeah, Abin, you are saying something?
Sir, number of years purchase is 5, right?
Number of year purchase is not 5. Number of year purchase is 2
sorry.
only. Yeah,
2.
and number of year purchase is only 2 years.
Yeah, 2 years. Average profit.
Average profit is of
Purchase.
5 years. So average profit is for the year 2016, it is 70,000, then 85,000, then 45,000, then 35,000. And in the year 2020, we have a loss instead of profit. Find out the average profit.
So goodwill is 90,000.
Goodwill is 90,000. Okay, let me. I haven't calculated it yet. Sorry. Let me calculate. 70,000 plus 85,000 plus 45,000 plus 35,000 minus 10,000. So it will be 2,25,000, the total profit of the last 5 years. And we have to divide it by 5. By dividing it by 5, we will get 45,000. 45,000 will be the average profit, na, Alexander? Let me do it one more time.
Sir, I
70,000.
said goodwill.
Okay.
Goodwill
okay,
is
goodwill,
90.
okay. Yeah, that is correct. Goodwill will be 90,000. That is right. So to find out the average profit, 2,25,000. This is the total amount of profit of the last 5 years, considering the value of the loss as well, dividing it by 5 years, rather than multiplying it with 2 years of purchases. So this will be 45,000 into 2. So the total value of the goodwill will be 90,000. Got it, everyone? Is this clear to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And now we can pass the general entry. Since it is the self-valued goodwill, so for finding out for treating the self-valued goodwill, we will have to first of all find out the gaining and sacrificing shares of the partner, and for that we have to prepare an extra working note. X, Y, and Z, again 3 partners. And since everything in the question is same, right? Like in the previous question, their old profit sharing ratio was old PSR was 5:3:2, and new profit sharing ratio was 1:1:1. Since everything is the same in this question is same, therefore gaining and sacrificing ratio will also be same. So their gaining share of the X will be gaining shares. Gaining share will be same as in the previous case. So Y and Z must be gaining 1/30 and 4/30. So Y's will be 1/30 and Z's gaining share will be 4/30. And sacrificing share, only X will be sacrificing. So sacrificing shares of the partner X will be 5/30. Got it, everyone? Is this clear to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that means general entry is going to remain same again. The general entry will be Y's capital account will be debited. Z's capital account will also be debited to X capital account. X capital account, right? And obviously 90,000 has to be divided depending upon their gaining and sacrificing value of shares. So let's first talk about the X share. 90,000 into 5/30. So 0 will cancel 0 and 9 can be divided by 3, so it will be 3. And so here we can write down 15,000. 5 into 3 will be 15,000. And again for Y, it will be 90 into 1/30. So it will be 3,000 and 12,000 for Z's capital. Tell me if it is clear or not, everyone.
Yes, sir. Clear.
And narration in this case will be being self-valued goodwill. Adjusted among the partners. Got it, everyone? Is this clear to all of you?
Yes, sir. Clear.
Yes, sir.
Clear. Abin, Ayan.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So this is it for today's class, all of you. I'm not giving you any homework for today's session for the next class. But make sure that you revise everything because we will be conducting a small Viva in the next class. So make sure you revise all the things that we have covered in today's session. Got it, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, and the topics that I'll be asking the question from the reconstitution of the partner. Okay. I'll be taking the Viva from the reconstitution of the partner, cover only 2 topics, reconstitution and one more topic, the goodwill, the valuation of goodwill. Only 2 topics, last 2 topics. Reconstitution and the valuation of goodwill will be the Viva topics. Got it? Okay,
Yes, sir.
then see you on Wednesday. Till then, all of you take care. Goodbye.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, please tell me.
Sir, I have a doubt regarding the assignment question, the second one. I don't think we have time now, but
Yeah, please ask the question in the next class.
okay, sir. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Or else you can also share your doubt directly
Thank you,
to
sir.
me on WhatsApp. If you
Okay,
wanted
sir.
to.
Sir, in the group.
Yeah, you can share it in the group.